Hey guys, before we get into today's show, we'll tell you about our sponsor, FanDraft. Are you tired of using those old paper fantasy football draft boards? Well, FanDraft software is the first ever digital fantasy football draft board software. It brings you to the 21st century for fantasy football draft boards. Head over to fandraft.com and let them know the Hateful Eight Fantasy Football Podcast sent you. All right, let's get into today's show.
Welcome, Average Joe Nation from around the globe. Props to you for staying up to date and keeping in the know. Fantasy football, man, very soon you'll reign. The knowledge that these three guys have, man, it is insane. Fantasy football talk, Hateful Eight, they wear the crown. Hold it down, Pickle, Blackburn, and Trimboli, hold it down. Pulling up to LB Design Studio, we're getting loud. Season 2, headphones on, red light, go, break it down.
Welcome back to the Hateful Eight Fantasy Football Podcast with your host, I'm Pickle, and with me as always, Blackburn.
What up?
And Trimboli.
What's going on?
This week we discuss our top 12 consensus wide receivers. As always, don't forget to follow the show's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts as they always have content posted to them, usually daily, but sometimes every other day. But we started getting a little more active on the Instagram again, so. All right, anything else?
Nope.
Let's roll.
All right, on to fantasy news and notes.
Fantasy news and notes.
All right, fantasy news and notes presented by Body Armor Super Drink, superior hydration for today's athlete. Check them out at drinkbodyarmor.com, and you can get them at your local convenience store as well.
I like it.
Got it.
All right, some transactions that we had today, this week before or leading up to this week's show. Christian Hackenberg signed by the Eagles.
Camp arm. Just saying, that's what he is.
Any concern that Wentz is not going to be ready week one?
Yeah, but Foles is there.
Well, I get that, but then they're going to need depth. Like, he's not ready at all.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not too worried about it at this moment. He's out there practicing, so as long as he is participating, even if it's off to the side, I'm okay with that. Because I've seen some drills with him actually doing like the rollout left and right and stuff like that, and he's moving around. It's not like he's on a bike or just only tossing the ball. So
Well,
I'm a little less concerned about that.
I think the beat writers have a little more concern.
they
it's
seem
like
to be.
less than 50-50 now.
Yeah, well, they seem to be more concerned. I don't know, from everything that I'm watching on like NFL Network and stuff like that, he's out there doing the drills. So
Sounds good. I hope he's ready to go.
Till something's different where it's like drastic where you see like Andrew Luck was last year where he just wasn't even participating in any drills at all. You're like,
Well, he wasn't touching the Duke.
no. All right. 49ers agreed to a free agent running back, Alfred Morris, on a contract pending a physical. So it sounds like everything's going to go according to plan with bringing a running back depth in to Shanahan's offense, which, as you know, Alfred Morris has familiarity with that offensive style.
Flourished under it.
So I think we were talking about this before the show was, I think it adds depth, but I think that speaks more to their concerns of McKinnon's durability now. I mean, he went through one preseason game and he was banged up.
Wasn't Burrito hurt too?
Burrito's got a
Matt
shoulder
Breida.
issue.
I was going to say, that's what I see more here. Is
Not a Chipotle burrito, but a Matt burrito.
Pinto beans, white rice, double chicken. Anyway,
Get rid of the beans. Come on.
Jeremy Nichols is actually taking first team reps this week, and everybody's impressed with him. So, but yeah, I like the offer.
The camp cut from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Dirk Cutters.
Hey, it was his choice to leave.
I agree, but I think, like we said, I think Alfred Morris is more of a durable back that
And
they're.
he's familiar. Yeah, he's familiar. It's a good signing.
I think it's a good thing for them. Now, for fantasy purposes,
Does this make McKinnon's value take a hit?
I'm still not as concerned yet.
I'm not I'm on the fence at the moment. My thing is to watch and see over the next maybe couple weeks to see when McKinnon's back practicing how much Alfred Morris and Matt Breida is used into the snaps. I guess you want to call it snap counts. At the moment, there's no real sign because McKinnon's kind of not practicing right now. Breida's not practicing, so
They need somebody in there.
they need somebody. And I mean, Jeremy McNichols is pretty much your only option. I mean,
Hey,
besides
Nichols.
McNichols is that his name.
Nichols.
Nichols, whatever. Nichols. Anyways, pennies.
I'm loving it.
Free agent wide receiver Dez. You know what? Let's hit him with that Dez of our lives.
I'm about to enjoy what I always wanted to do. You know, it's a new chapter. You know, there's only one way I can look at it. You know, it's just time to move on and go on to the next.
On to the next.
God.
Free agent wide receiver Dez Bryant is meeting with the Cleveland Browns. Now, we're recording Wednesday evening. He's actually meeting Thursday is what he's posted out on Twitter, as well as
He's
his
not
agent.
officially in the land yet.
He's not officially landed in the land, so I don't know.
I think it'd be awesome if he signed there. I like Dez Bryant.
I like Dez Bryant. I just
You pair him with Gordon, Callaway,
Landry.
and Njoku. I mean, there's endless weapons there.
Right. I think, like we talked about, was it last week, the biggest thing for, at least for me, and I think you'd kind of agreed as well, or we kind of were on the same page, is as long as Dez Bryant can agree to not being the guy and stepping in and kind of being like second fiddle, if you want to call it that, or like the wide receiver 2 in the offense, or in this case, it might be the wide receiver 3, depending on how Gordon comes back and performs. Right. But, I mean, Landry is the clear-cut number 1 in that offense, and as long as Landry's healthy and Josh Gordon shows up before the official start of the season, I think you're basically Dez is being, if he is signed, he's brought in as the wide receiver 3 because it's between him and Callaway.
Man,
if he could if he could wrap his brain around the fact that he's just a role player at this point,
right?
He's a great signing. But I don't think he's ever going to do that. I think he's going to be a headache in the locker room. And like I said earlier today, I don't even think he's going to sign before week 1 with any team.
Yeah, my biggest thing is I'm not trying to it's not a dig at him or at the guy that I'm getting ready to mention, but he's kind of like this generation's T.O. So he is like the drama of drama wide receivers. He is past his prime, in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying he can't be good, but I'm saying he can't be like top 5 wide receiver in the NFL good like he was when he first started out, where he was able to out-physically get the ball. He was able to use his speed and his overall physical attributes to beat the DB on the route. And that's what you saw at T.O. As towards the end of his career, he really wasn't getting separation. He had to use more underneath stuff, or he had to use his height, his physical ability in the end zone to catch the ball. But
so you're saying he's going to be a Bengal? That's what I got out of that.
In this rate, he could be a Bengal, an Eagle, a 49er.
No, that's where the Bengals where everyone goes to die.
Flag football. I mean, that's where T.O.'s hanging out with Chad Johnson right now. So
Ocho.
Somebody made it. I saw a post, and I don't know. I think it was a joke, but somebody said that he just needs to go to the CFL and hang out with Manziel. So
Who got knocked out, by the way, the other day?
Boom.
Like, for real. That was brutal.
I didn't see it.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see it,
He was
but
laying on the ground.
Oh, he forgot where he was at.
Right.
So
talk about a fall from grace, that guy.
He had it made, man.
he did. Now on to some quick hits. We got Broncos QB CAD. Not the computer system CAD system.
H is silent.
H is silent. Chad Kelly passes up Paxton Lynch on the depth chart. I'm not even surprised. Paxton Lynch is trash.
Hot garbage. That dude is garbage.
He is horrible.
I listened to some beat right out of Denver, though. They think they're just trying to light a fire under him because it's really Paxton's not doing better than Chad.
Look, that dude's been on fire for like 2 years.
I get that.
He's trash.
There's probably not a future there, but they're trying to do something for him.
My guess is maybe they light a fire under Paxton, trying to get him motivated. He does a little bit, and then they ship him off.
They trade him for a 2053 7th-round pick.
Hey, at this rate, it's probably more valuable than what Paxton Lynch could bring to that Denver offense.
That's Brockweiler 2.0.
Oh, gosh.
He still got that sweet stash?
Probably.
All he's got.
That's pretty much because he ain't got an arm or touch. Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy Graham are clicking in practice, which is always a good thing to hear from the beat writers. I mean, we saw a couple of those. I don't know if you guys saw them, but it was a beat writer for Green Bay had posted a couple like early on practice, and I mean, Jimmy Graham was just basically running like a quick little 3 steps, and he was to the corner of the end zone and catching the ball out.
I think Jimmy Graham's going to be a beast.
I think it's him and Adams are the ones to have, and I think Geronimo Allison's going to figure in a way somehow as the wide receiver 2 in that offense, because I just don't think Cobb can stay healthy. It doesn't sound like it sounds like he's dealing with a re-injury of the issue that they supposedly fixed. But
listen, I've had some concerns with Graham, but this is definitely promising.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd love to see him be a beast too.
at least we're seeing proof. I know, like, when Martellus Bennett was there, they were saying, yeah, he was doing well. He was clicking. He was staying after practice with Aaron Rodgers. They were coming in early and working, but there was really no, like, video evidence. Like, this, you're actually seeing visual proof
Well, not only
that
that,
they're
Jimmy,
running.
Jimmy Graham's much better than
Oh, yeah.
Martellus Bennett.
Even at the end of, in my opinion, Jimmy Graham's career
Yes.
where he's at, he is
Right.
still better than Martellus Bennett even early on in his career.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
So-
Packers are kind of running out of options when they get down
That's
to the
what I'm
goal
saying.
line,
Their red
so-
zone guy, Jordy's gone, so they need somebody to pick up that slack. I'm sure Devontae Adams is going to figure into that, but Jimmy Graham's going to be the guy.
And they don't have Aaron Jones for the who's going to be kind of their bruiser back for the first couple
Right.
games. Ty Montgomery and I just drew a blank. Williams is going to be in some fashion probably going to be used more so, I would say, on the outside, like off tackle, left, right. Not going to run between the tackles and kind of do the nitty gritty runs, but I don't know. To me, Geronimo Allison's an underrated guy that's going to be playing as the wide receiver 2 there probably, and as we've seen in the past, Aaron Rodgers has no problem carrying 2 wide receivers in the top 20.
Right.
Nope.
So, let's see. Eagles wide receiver Alshon Jeffrey says they're saying he could start the season on the PUP list. Now, coach has come out, Doug Peterson's come out and said that that's not true. He's not. He's fine. He'll be back before week 1. We've heard this story before with Andrew Luck, and
Right.
2 years later.
he'll be fine. 2 years later, he's finally throwing a football. But
I'll
Hey,
tell you what,
this would be bad for Philadelphia.
this
Yeah.
is the one hit you can't take in this
Especially
group.
You piggyback on Wentz. If Wentz isn't ready, you lose Wentz and Jeffrey.
so does this hurt also Ajayi's value?
Yeah. This hurts the running back group in general. Well, I'd say Clement's still valuable now. I think his value kind of closes the gap on Ajayi because
See,
of
that's
passing.
I kind of agree with you now.
The only guy that would be their stock would go up a little bit would be the tight end.
I would say Zach Ertz would be a good one.
Okay, I
and
can see
then
that too.
I would say Zach Ertz' value would go up more so, but I think that Corey Clement's worth would be a little bit more just because I think they're going to be playing from behind. Because Alshon Jeffrey, don't get me wrong, Nelson Aguilar is a good wide receiver. However, he is not a wide receiver 1 in anyone's offense at this point.
Right.
I mean, I think, like you said, with having no Wentz, you can kind of maybe fudge that with Foles coming in as you saw last year. However, if you take Alshon Jeffrey out of the mix, that's a true wide receiver 1 who's going to ask for potentially double coverage. Now you're going to have them be able to play back in coverage and basically say Foles or Wentz, whoever beat me. And I don't know,
They're
man.
going to send the house. The defense is going to send the house, so it's going to be the tight end or the running back getting receptions for
Right.
quick passes.
So,
Once promising offense now is looking worse and worse.
So I'm hoping for the Eagles offense and for fantasy purposes, Alshon's ready to go week 1. But my problem is if he's still doing, even if he is ready for week 1, he's not gonna be 100%.
No, but I mean, if he goes on the pup, that's 6 weeks where he's gone.
Right.
So you drafting him?
If he's out for 6 weeks, no.
I'm not touching him at all.
Well, right now, let's say you're drafting tomorrow or tonight, and you have no idea.
No.
I'm gonna try to look for somebody else.
There's other people.
See, I think I'm with Blackburn. I'm totally not even touching him.
Yeah, he's off my list completely.
Yeah.
So, but
Just cross him out now, like he's been drafted.
But I mean, for the first 6 games, I mean, I think their bye week is week 7, so he misses the first 6
It's
games.
half the season.
And then he's back the first week. They have a bye, and then he comes back for 8 through 16 for your same. I mean, it's 8 games.
No.
It's almost like the Ingram effect.
Right.
He's out for 4. They got a bye week in 6.
Yeah, but Ingram's going to touch the ball a lot.
Well,
Right.
true.
When he comes
I just
back. Yeah.
meant the duration of time within
Right.
his bye week.
Yeah.
I mean, but Alshon's right now his ADP I think is like a wide receiver 2, so I think he's somewhere in that like 4th round. So it's about the same as Ingram in that theory. But I would rather take Ingram missing 4 than
Oh, true.
Alshon missing 6.
7.
Well, Ingram's not missing because of injury.
Right.
No, he's only missing 5 because of the 4 and then the bye week. Alshon's missing 7. He's not coming back till halfway through the season.
Yeah. No, thank
So you got him 8 through 14. You got him 6 weeks before the playoffs.
Yeah.
No.
No, thank you.
He's a late round flyer.
All right. We got the injury, so let's get into that.
My shoulder doesn't hurt very much, but my face does. Right here. Not here or here so much, but right here.
Nope. Ship shape.
All right. First one, 49ers running back Jerick McKinnon. Minor tweak of the knee. They're saying it's not an issue. Yes or no?
If it wasn't an issue, Alfred Morris wouldn't be signed.
My point.
I'm just afraid because it's a knee.
I'm just saying, if it wasn't an
Non-contact.
issue, they wouldn't
Yeah.
have looked to sign somebody else.
It was non-contact, which is always a bad sign.
I mean, the hype on him now is slowly coming to a halt, but
You can go back to all the shows that we've done building up to this. I have never been on the Jerick McKinnon wagon. I do not like any parts of that.
I just liked him in the passing game.
That was my thing, and if he was going to get the true volume that they were saying initially, but now that you got injury potential that's going to linger, and you got them bringing in another running back who knows the offense, it tells me that they're not 100% sold on him being the guy.
I'm not totally off. I mean, for me, it's still I'm gonna wait and see.
Yeah, but he's not. I'm not even sniffing him at his ADP.
Well,
No.
now I agree with you too.
So. Giants running back Saquon Barkley has a mild hamstring strain, so
Man, these injuries are just on these running backs is ridiculous.
And I hate hamstring injury. Anything with the legs.
yeah, especially for running backs, the hamstrings, what do you call them? Like the ankles, hamstrings, anything like that.
Knees, hamstrings,
It's-
calves, any part of the leg. They
From
can't-
from the waist down is a bad sign.
Yeah, they can't run on their hands. So.
No, that would be interesting, but no, they can't.
But seriously, though, I mean,
concern or no?
That's concern because hamstrings. If you look at in the past, the hamstring injuries they seem to linger through the season.
Yeah, and being
Unless
a
you're
rookie-
actually unless you're getting rest and letting them heal, he's going to keep aggravating that.
That's
as he
scary
runs.
for a first round pick too.
Seahawks running back Rashad Penny out with a broken finger for about 3 to 4 weeks. Apparently, he had some sort of screw put in his finger to kind of stabilize it. All I can say is Chris Carson. I want to say Carson Wentz. Chris Carson. Valued.
Carson Daly.
Listen, anyone that's already drafted and got Chris Carson way late, talk about a value you got now.
Congrats.
Like
So
won the lottery.
What about all these rookie drafts where they took Geis and Penny and they're just sitting there right now, like packing it in already. It's
they're like,
done.
well, those guys are out. Thing is, I mean, Rashad Penny was already kind of struggling with pass protection, and Chris Carson looked like he was starting to kind of emerge as the guy. But this kind of puts him way back because by the time he comes back, it'll be pretty much right at the start of the season, and he was already struggling with the pass protection. Now you've got a guy like Chris Carson who's played in the offense last year, is doing well in pass protection, can catch the ball, can run.
He did well last year before he got hurt.
Right. So I'm just saying this to me. Now, I'm not saying Rashad Penny won't be a starter at some point this year, but I'm saying that it's going to probably take 6 to 7 weeks before he gets really in the rhythm now that he's now missing 3 to 4.
Right. You wanted game reps out of him.
Right.
And now you're not getting that.
And now Chris Carson's ADP is like 8th, 9th round.
Right. And it's probably going to move up more as we go farther into the preseason and closer to the NFL season in your drafts, unfortunately for people. But
If you're drafting now. If you're drafted now, Chris Carson's a steal.
yeah.
Yep.
So, Dolphins wide receiver. I hate that, man. They just don't have anybody. They just don't have anybody to deal with besides Mike Gesicki now and Kenny Stills. So
Hot take, Danny Amendola will lead this team in receptions this year.
I like that.
I'm leaning more that way now, but I just feel bad for Parker, man. He's had hype every year, and this year I thought, all right, he might
So
take
is
that step.
Tannehill. Their whole
Nope.
Dolphins has been trash.
True.
Just ask Jalen Ramsey.
I do like, yeah. No, he thinks everybody's trash.
Yeah, everyone's hot garbage to him, even his own
Yeah,
quarterback.
he needs to look at his own quarterback because he's the hottest of all the garbage.
He did say Blake's going to do what he does. Whatever.
Yeah, let the defense and Fournette carry him.
Right. So Dolphins wide receiver Devontae Parker has a broken middle finger. I just think this is just one more, like, geez.
Yeah.
Could it get any worse for Devontae Parker? Like you said, I think the guy was hyped in coming in. He's done little to nothing. He's had little to no commitment his first year or two. It was saying he was staying up late playing video games, going out to McDonald's and eating. And
He was eating some McNichols.
He was eating some McNichols, some McNuggets. Anyways, I'm just saying it's just one more notch in like can it get any worse for Devontae Parker? The next thing is he's going to be like shipped out for
for some McNuggets.
For the McNuggets, pretty much. That's about
If
it.
it's a 20-piece, I'd do it.
Hey,
I'm just saying, I think he would benefit from a change of scenery. He
I
needs to
think
go to
so.
a different offense.
I agree.
I think who needs an offensive wide receiver?
Dallas.
The Patriots.
Oh.
I'm just saying, Bill Belichick could probably get the most out of this guy. If anybody's going to get the most out of Devontae Parker, it's going to be Bill Belichick.
Probably.
And it's within division.
But
It'd be even better.
they got some wide receivers up there.
Just saying, they got a nice physical wide receiver in Devontae Parker with, he was a first-round draft pick. So why wouldn't
Yeah, so was Trent Richardson. What's your point?
the Browns drafted one and the Dolphins drafted the other? Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger is in a concussion protocol as of Monday. So when we're recording the show, Still no sign of what's going on with him. He's still in the protocol, but that's something that lingers up to a week.
Right.
And then even then, it just depends on if he has reoccurring issues and stuff like that. But the fact that it's first week of the preseason, it's a good thing. Now, if we're going into like the final preseason game ending into like week 1, this might be an uh-oh.
Yeah, because Antonio Brown's production is going to go.
Well, we said, what was it last week? We talked about the running backs and wide receivers and how concerned are you if the quarterback plays poor or gets hurt.
That's one
This
of the
is
teams.
literally one of the guys you don't want to get hurt if you have Brown or Le'Veon Bell.
Or
I will
Schuster
say
or-
concussions early though. In general, he could be dealing with this all year though.
Right. Well, that's what I said. It's going to be a situation as to watch as camp continues on into preseason and see if this is a lingering issue. Because my best guess is they're probably going to sit him for the rest of camp.
Right.
So we'll see.
Especially with this hot button issue, the concussion protocol is so.
Yeah. Speaking of concussion protocol, did you see Isaiah Crowell decided he just didn't want to play the rest of the game? He's like, how can I get off the field? Drop my head right into 3 different guys' chest, and we're going to just fall off.
He scored the touchdown, though.
And he didn't fumble.
That's all that matters.
And he was like, take me to the tent. I got a concussion.
He went in there and ate a Hot Pocket, had some Gatorade.
He was like, he shuts the tent curtain. He goes, all right, so I'm not going to go back in. You just let you know. Tell them I got a concussion. I'm good, actually, but
Get my Hot Pocket ready.
go get my Mark Sanchez. Remember Mark Sanchez eating the hot dog
Yeah.
on the sideline? He's
Trying
just
to
like,
cover it up.
He was like,
And his butt fumble. I mean, come on.
I'm just like, come on, dude. Anyways,
That guy sucked, too.
that was not the only time he ever did it on the sideline. I saw him in like with 2 other different teams. He did it as well. I think he did it with the Bears last year. I saw him on the sideline do that. I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me.
That's about the only thing he's known for.
Right.
Well, that and the butt fumble is about it.
The butt fumble.
Nothing on the field successful. However, he did take the team to the playoffs. The Jets. That's what's sad.
They had a loaded roster.
Let's not talk
year,
about
though.
that. Let's not talk. I'm still bitter.
Why?
He
Beat the Bengals.
Well, so does everybody. What's your point? Come on.
All right. Let's get into the next segment.
I need a new team.
Questions from our listeners, and take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
All right, take it or leave it. Presented by Fantasy Fate Ball, the one and only Magic 8-Ball for fantasy football. 20 custom answers to help you make those critical start-sit decisions. In the Sunday morning agony, head over to fantasyfateball.com. Use the promo code HATEFUL8 for $5 off your purchase. All right, you guys decide who wants to go first in reading some of these questions.
I'll go first.
Go for it.
Since it's a Redskins question. I'm Zooted wrote, with Geis out for the season, should the Redskins sign Orleans Darkwa as their lead back?
No.
He went on to say he's much better than Fat Rob and fumbling P. Ryan. The 2017 rankings were P. Ryan 78th, Fat Rob 72nd, Darkwa 40th. And I think you get him for pennies on the dollar. First of all,
Rashad pennies on the dollar.
Boom.
didn't. First of all, no.
And it's not Fat Rob anymore. He's Lean Rob.
Yeah, and
Not so fat, Rob.
if Fat Rob wouldn't have got hurt, P. Ryan was. I mean, yeah, P. Ryan fumbled, but there's no Chris Thompson added into this either.
I agree.
Maybe he knows that guy's. It's either he forgot or he knows that Chris Thompson has his like etched in spot.
I mean, I get that, but as soon as Geis went down, there was reports that Darkwa,
DeMarco
Murray, Adrian Peterson, all these free agent running backs were going to be coming to Washington. Jay Gruden squashed all that and said, "No, we got 3 guys that are capable. They've been here, for multiple years." And I actually like Rob Kelly and Chris Thompson duo this year.
Yeah, as long as Rob Kelly stays healthy,
That's the key.
I think he is the guy to have if you're going to take one of the running backs not named Chris Thompson in that
I
backfield.
mean, he's a bruiser.
Thompson's who I love to watch, though.
Yes,
But-
he's a beast.
But the thing is, which is weird because Fat Rob's ADP is I think like a round or 2 higher than.
It's not so fat, Rob. Come on.
Okay, not so fat. Rob is I think he's like 2 rounds or 3 rounds higher than P. Ryan right now, and they haven't really. They both moved up once Geis got hurt, but they still have that like 2-3 round gap between them.
I wouldn't even look at P. Ryan.
At the
I
moment,
was gonna say I
wouldn't.
kind of agree with that.
I mean, Fat Rob's going to be the guy. He started last year as the guy, and he did well until he got hurt. Chris Thompson came in and just took over the show. Those are the 2 guys you need to watch for.
You
Yeah.
watch it by preseason week 3, his ADP will skyrocket when Fat Rob's getting all those reps.
And
Yeah.
Thompson.
Oh yeah, I mean Thompson's. I think he's got his like we said his position of what he's going to do on the team etched in. But to me, and the biggest thing for Geis was the fact that Chris Thompson made it very clear I'm not 100%. I probably won't be till
Right.
like 3/4 of the season in.
Right.
Now, that's not saying he's not going to play, not going to do any, not take any snaps. It just means that you're probably not going to see the full Chris Thompson athletic ability until closer to the playoffs.
Right, and Geis was showing that he could catch and do everything too. So
right. So I mean, if Rob Kelly can do a portion of whatever Geis was showing in camp, I think he's the guy to have in that backfield. But
Geis isn't going to catch, or
Rob Kelly's not going to catch.
No, he's not going to catch.
That's where Chris Thompson
When it's
comes
obvious
in.
passing downs, Thompson will come in. And I like Thompson too because Kelly is injury prone.
Right.
So when he goes down, Chris
Yeah.
Thompson will be the guy.
Right. So, so I think it's a collective no. No, don't go get. They're not going to get Darkwa or any other running backs at this moment. Now, if Rob
If somebody,
Kelly,
if somebody
or Piron
gets hurt to where they're out for the season, possibly.
yeah, if another one of the main running backs get hurt, then I could see maybe them reaching out.
Or somebody that gets cut from another team right now. I don't think they'll go after Darkwa.
No, I think he's pretty much settled. Let's see.
All right, moving on. Nacho Taco.
Back again.
Love that name. Is this the year Dak Prescott shows he's ready to be the team's long-term quarterback? Well, our resident Dallas fan, what do you say?
I think it's potentially. I mean, I think there's a lot of question marks with that offense only because there's no, in their mind, true wide receiver. But, I mean, my biggest thing is you lost Dez Bryant. Regardless of whether you like him or you don't, you think he sucks, you think he struggled last year or he's been bad the past 2-3 years, he still dictates coverage. He still dictates two guys, one guy on his hip, one guy on the top of the route waiting for him because he only ran 1 or 2 routes. So, but my other thing is they also lost Jason Witten, who was a staple in that offense and was pretty much any and all. It was a comfort blanket for Romo and for Dak last year and his first year. Now, what? I just drew a blank. Oh, I just drew a blank.
Who? What?
Where are you going with?
My biggest thing is with the fact that they don't have 2 of their best the highest receiving guys last year. I just think that it helps. I think Dak in the side that he's not got somebody like Dez in his ear chirping at him saying, hey, I'm open every play. On the flip side, I think it sucks because he doesn't have like the staple tight end that he's had who is going to be a comfort blanket to him.
He just needs a go-to guy, is what you're saying.
Right. And there's no, they say Hearns, but we've seen Gallup. We saw Gallup in the preseason game do really well. And I mean, in every practice I've ever watched, through like social media, he's not shy by throwing it to anybody. He's willing to throw to whoever's open, which is a good thing. My biggest thing is this is a make it or break it year for him contract-wise because Zeke's supposedly going to be there for 16 games. If Zeke's not hurt, that's the only thing that's going to enable him from not being on the field for 16 games. But if Zeke plays 16 games, I think that puts a lot more pressure on Dak to be successful because last year with Zeke in and out is he playing, is he not? Is he in, is he out? And when he was out, you saw, now granted they did struggle because the left tackle was hurt. But to me...
That was hot garbage, that line.
Right, well they were taking Play-Doh and just trying to make something out of it. But anyways, I'm just saying Dak doesn't have an excuse now. He's got solid wide receivers. He's got a tight end that can beat Swain, who can be there, or Rico Gathers that can be something.
Rico.
I'm just saying, no, he doesn't have a staple name wide receiver 1, but he has plenty of guys who can go out and run routes and catch a ball. So I think the pressure is on Dak that he just doesn't have an excuse this year if he fails. That's my thing. I guess that's my take. If he fails, it's on him. It's because it is what it is.
My thing is there's no, like you said, no wide receiver 1.
Right.
It's going to be hard for him. I think we're going to see him struggle like we did last year. Zeke's going to be the one that carries this team.
I agree.
Passing and rushing.
Yeah.
I still think he's a long-term, to answer the question, I think he is the long-term option.
Oh, yeah.
I just think it's what they have.
Well, I think that they're wanting, from everything I'm hearing, they're wanting to pay Dak Prescott top quarterback pay. However, I think Jerry and the Jones family wants to make sure that he has a good year this year before they do that. I don't think they want to have him have 2 back-to-back struggling years and say, here you go, have the money. I don't think that's going to be what Jerry Jones says. Now, I'm telling you right now, I know that they're all about Dak and they talk him up and he's their guy and all of that. I'm just telling you right now, if Dak completely craps the bed this year, don't be surprised if Dallas takes a quarterback next year in the draft early.
And I don't blame him.
I'm just telling you right now. As a Dallas fan, that's what I'm telling you is going to come to fruition.
You think that quarterback they take, let's say next year's draft is ready to go in a couple of years, their window is still open? with Zeke and.
As long as you got that offensive line and Zeke, you got a you got.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But the line's ready to go now.
Well,
Zeke's ready to go now. You're just hurting on the wide receivers. I think that's why you
Gallup's
got to
gonna
move
be-
with Dak now.
Right. Well, and I think that's
Unless
what
you're
they're
going to go
hoping
get a
for.
veteran.
I
Now, if
don't
you go
see
get
that.
a veteran, I could. It definitely changes the scenario.
I think the offense works because they have a mobile quarterback with Dak. I think Dak's throw-run option is what helps this offense. If Dak was a non-mobile quarterback, even though that offensive line's top 5 in the NFL, I think that makes them struggle. Now, unless they bring in somebody like a Kirk Cousins, not that obviously he's in Minnesota. I'm just saying that type of mentality where he's going to throw the ball a ton. I think Kirk Cousins can make any wide receiver look good.
What if they here's a scenario. As a Dallas fan, would you be happy with this? Dak Prescott struggles. They get rid of him. They make a trade with Cleveland for Tyrod Taylor.
Ooh.
Because Baker Mayfield's going to start next year.
Right. Oh, man. I mean, I like Tyrod, and I like the offense that he's in with the Browns, but I think what makes him successful in the Browns offense is because, and what I like about him this year is the fact that he has solid wide receivers and solid receiving options with history. I mean, Hearns had one good year of being a really good guy. Gallup's a rookie. They have Tavon Austin, who's been he's been hot and cold. And then they've got Swain, who's never really had to be a tight end. They got Rico Gathers, who's a college basketball player playing tight end.
Which isn't bad.
No, I'm just saying.
He's unproven.
There's a lot of question marks in that offense right now. Now, I agree with you. I think Dallas's offensive line is in the win now mentality.
Right.
Now, they do have them locked up for the next couple years, but Zeke's going to want another contract, probably post this year. I'm just telling you right now, if he blows it up and has a 1,300 yard season again,
He's going to get paid.
he's going to
Right.
get paid at the end of this year.
I
Now, Jerry Jones doesn't pay running backs. I'm just telling you right now. It literally killed him to have to pay Emmitt Smith that year that Emmitt Smith sat out for like 2 games. It was everything Jerry could do to try to get Emmitt to sign for less. Now, I think that he likes Ezekiel Elliott clearly because they went to bat for him in the domestic situation. Whether they believed him or not, they went to bat for him.
Would they trade him?
Would they trade Zeke? No. No, they
If
won't.
they're not going to pay him,
Oh, they're going to pay him. I'm just saying. I just think it could potentially turn into an Emmitt Smith situation
well, 'cause,
again.
I mean, if they trade him, they could get multiple first-round picks and get that quarterback and running back and just go from there.
They know that Zeke is the staple of that offense.
I
like
agree with- I
Emmitt
agree with-
Smith was the staple of that
Right.
offense.
Right.
So it's the exact same situation.
But see, Emmitt Smith is different because you had Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin. You had
But Aikman was never known as like a great quarterback. He managed the game very, very well.
look at the weapons he had around him.
True.
They had Alvin Harper.
Well, that's what I'm
Michael
saying. So
Irvin,
why don't they
Jay
just-
Novacek? I mean, they were loaded.
With Michael Gallup there now, we'll see what he eventually comes into. And then if they go get a receiver, I think they're better with Dak now than them trying to go get a rookie
Right.
and rebuild it because he's not going to be ready right away.
I'm just not so. I'm not a Dak Prescott fan. I think last year when Zeke went out, that's the Dak Prescott that we know.
I think
True.
I was gonna say I think that's what you're looking at is as long as Zeke can stay healthy and that offensive line can stay healthy, then I think you get the Dak Prescott that Jerry Jones wants to see out on the field. However, if any one of those offensive staples line guys get hurt or Zeke's hurt for whatever reason, holy crap, you're done. Just whatever shares of Dak Prescott in your redraft you got, just go ahead and just push him to the side or hit drop. I'm just telling you right now. So,
All right.
all right. Next one, we got a City of Champs 5. It says rank these wide receivers now. He says it's standard format, so non-PPR. He's got Hilton, Cooper, Thielen, Evans, and Diggs. So who you got in what order?
Hilton, Evans, Cooper, Diggs, then Thielen.
Okay.
I like Hilton with Andrew Luck coming back. I think Mike Evans is going to have a better year than what he had last year. I like Cooper because it's only him and Nelson. And out of Diggs and Thielen, I like Diggs more. But Cousins is going to spread the ball around, so neither one of those guys are going to be top-tier guys.
Right.
Right. What do you got?
I got Hilton 1. Actually, I like Diggs a little bit more at 2, just for the potential TD upside. Evans at 3. I like Thielen at 4 and Cooper at 5.
All right. I've got Evans at 1, Diggs at 2, Cooper at 3, Hilton at 4, and Thielen at 5. And it was really weird to have to put like a 5 near Thielen, like as the low guy on the totem pole, but I just think the guys that are put ahead of him all have more touchdown upside than receiving receptions because I think Thielen's going to be more beneficial, in my opinion, in the reception category where I think Diggs is going to make home run catches.
Right.
He's going to make little out of nothing.
Well, that's why I have Cooper and Thielen like back-to-back because I think they're the same player
Yeah, I was going to say, when we go into the...
Cooper can stretch the field better than Thielen.
if he can catch the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Diggs' biggest question is staying on the field healthy. That's his biggest question
Right.
mark. So, all right, what do we got next? Who's the next question?
Next one's from Calvin Hood. Should I trade Antonio Brown for Sammy Watkins, Allen Robinson, and Leonard Fournette?
Collective, yes.
Yes,
say,
absolutely.
That's a consensus yes.
I mean, Antonio Brown, yeah, he's going to be a beast, but Leonard Fournette's not going to be far behind. Plus, you get Sammy Watkins and Allen Robinson, who could be wide receiver 2s this year.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, the way I looked at it is you're trading a top 5 running back for a top 3 wide receiver, and then you add in the pieces of 2 potential wide receiver 2s, like you said, with Robinson and Watkins. To me, that's a no-brainer.
Especially if this is a PPR.
Well, you always want depth.
Right.
Right.
So I don't see what 3
for 1.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, and I know the question mark, Sammy Watkins healthy, Allen Robinson coming off of an injury healthy, but Leonard Fournette's going to get you almost the same, I'd say within 50 points of Antonio Brown, fantasy points-wise, and you're going to look at, I'll say, less than 100. And you can't tell me that Sammy Watkins and Allen Robinson's not going to make up that difference.
Right.
So,
I mean, the only way you don't do this is if you're loaded at running back, and so Fournette's
Right.
only going to be a flex play,
Right.
which
Right.
you have to be loaded at that point. So,
But my best guess is if the guy who's got Antonio Brown is asking for Leonard Fournette, he's probably low on running backs and probably stacked at wide receivers.
I'd like to see his roster.
right.
And this guy, on the other hand, who is getting up Fournette's probably stacked at running backs and needs wide receiver depth, or you know what I mean.
Right.
So
I still like the trade.
Yeah.
overall, I like the trade. What do we got? Who's the next one?
D. Shanigan 12.
Is that D Shenanigans?
Shenanigans. That's what it is. What did I say?
No, I gave you a hard time.
It's Sahagan. I don't know.
I was giving you a hard time.
What is it?
I don't know. Whatever
It's
you said.
D. Sahanigan.
There you go.
Okay.
It's your bull.
Yeah,
Go
where's
for
that
it.
drop?
Or Hagian. It's
you go.
D.
It's got to be your boy.
Yeah, it's D. Sahagian.
It's probably his name. It's probably his
And
favorite
we
number.
forgot
12.
12 at the end. D. Sahagian 12.
He's probably
So
favorite.
I'm just going to go D12 here.
There we go.
D12.
I like it.
You're on the clock in the third round of a half-point PPR league. Who do you pick between Amari Cooper, Larry Fitzgerald, and Allen Robertson?
Fits.
Fitzgerald. Only because you bring in the PPR element.
Right.
If it's a standard,
I still pick Fitz.
I say I pick Fitz, but the gap is closer between him and Cooper.
Yes.
Okay, put them in 1 through 3. Are we the same?
Fitz, Cooper, Allen.
That's what I got.
Yeah.
All right.
So, speaking of which, we put in a poll for
I know.
in a half-point PPR. What was it? The guys that are being drafted right now as wide receiver 2s, most upside to potentially be wide receiver 1s. It was Cooper, Fitzgerald, Hill, and Cooks. And right when I last looked before we started the show,
Cooper was winning.
Cooper was winning,
Yeah.
which is shocking to me because I thought people absolutely hated Amari Cooper after his complete.
I just think he had a bad
Destruction.
year, man. I'm telling you, he's going to turn it on this year.
Oh, I agree with you. I just most of the general fantasy football community have this distinct hate for Amari Cooper. So
Still Cooper.
by how much? Was it I know last I looked it was 39 or 40% Cooper.
It's
And it was
30,
35.
I think it's 38.
okay.
Let me pull
Because it was 38 or 39%.
And Fitz is right
Cooper.
behind him, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was 34, 35.
Yeah, it's 38 Cooper, 31 Fitz.
Yeah.
See, that's surprising.
Brandon Cooks is bringing up the rear.
Yeah, he's not. I mean,
not the guy.
Tyler Higbee's the guy. We all know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So and
Just
then
wanted to work him on the show if you didn't catch that.
here you go.
I just like his name.
Tyler Higbee. Baker's Dozen Creative. I like that one actually. Might be my team name. Baker's Dozen. If
Probably going to lose every game, too.
Yep. If Des Bryant signs with the Browns, does that make him the wide receiver to own for fantasy purposes there in Cleveland? No, for me.
Landry.
Landry's still the guy to
Yeah.
have. But I will say it does make him somewhat fantasy relevant. But that means rounds 13 through 15.
Yeah, he's gonna be a
last one. Your what do you call your pick, the last pick that you
Mr.
really
irrelevant.
well for you the guy that you basically it's a swing.
Oh yeah,
draft.
that's my
You call
my
it
open
something.
spot on the bench.
There you go. It's
My-
the guy
my-
that
I could trade him. I could pick up a defense. I could just do whatever. It's my spot where it's like a revolving
it's
door.
my flex bench spot.
Right.
No, I'll draft a second kicker before I draft Brian.
No, he'd
so-
be a late round steal, and I guarantee you, if there's a big injury to a wide receiver, he'll be the number one guy on waiver wires that week. You watch.
Oh
I
man.
just don't believe in Bryant.
now. All right, so this week we decided to do a little stat of the week, call it Name of the Game. So Blackburn actually came up with this one. This is a pretty good one. Since 1978, when the NFL went to 16 games, only 2 teams have gone winless at 0-16. Now, just to preface before we tell you who these teams are, both teams went 4-0 in the preseason that year, to which goes back to our original point. The preseason doesn't really matter when it comes to records.
Right. Everybody's, all these guys look great in preseason. Preseason don't matter.
Right.
So who were the teams that we finished 0-16 while having 4-0 in their that preseason year?
The 2008 Lions and last year's Cleveland Browns. Both went 4-0. Everybody was on the hype train, and then
Yep. That was pretty much their record right there.
Yep.
Right into Lake Erie. And Lake Michigan as well. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get into our final segment of today. It's going to be our top 12 consensus wide receivers.
Are you number 1 this year?
Man, there's a lot of great guys out there. Hopefully I'm higher than number 4.
Rankings, wide receivers.
Presented by StatRoute, dominate your league. Get the stats used by the pros. Any stat, any player, any team. Available in under 5 seconds. StatRoute.com is where you can find this. And that was Antonio Brown talking about himself for the NFL Network's top 100 spot. I felt like that was a good little audio drop for him.
He's being so modest.
Yeah.
He knows he's supposed to be number 1.
You're number 1 in our hearts, AB.
Right.
And number 1 on our consensus top ranking.
Right.
Well, duh.
Yeah.
As long as Big Ben's healthy.
True. So,
Yeah, get that dome looked at and let's go.
Get the dome looked at. All right. It's probably because he's over there body slamming all those, what are those defensive lineman bags that they're throwing at him, and he's sitting there playing hopscotch with
the
them.
shoulder thing. Yeah, that was funny.
Did you ever see that?
Landry Jones. It was like a couple of years ago. Landry Jones was ducking and diving on it. Big Ben was just swatting him down as he was throwing the ball.
Yes.
It was
All
great.
right. So number 1 across the board. There was only 2 of these that we had across the board. Number 1, Antonio Brown. I don't think we really have to go too much into that, but his ADP right now in a 12-team half-point PPR, which is where our consensus rankings are coming from, 105. So right after the
4 backs,
the 4 top running backs, and I've seen Kamara going. I think he's going around 107. So it's right after. Or 106, 107, which is so.
It'd be tempting for me to take Kamara ahead of Hopkins and Brown.
I've seen it done in mock drafts, surprisingly enough, like without even hesitation.
You know me, that's what I'll probably end up doing.
A few of the mock drafts I've seen, that Saquon Kool-Aid is strong because they're picking him like top 5.
Yeah, well, they better watch out because the quad is apparently
Not drinking the same Kool-Aid he is.
no, he's not hydrated enough. Apparently, he's not drinking his body armor. His quads are strained.
Yeah, get that peach mango kid.
Right. All right, number 2. I really wanted to put him as my number 1, but
Of course you did.
But I ended up putting Antonio Brown just because I think overall.
Because you just don't want to be different.
Right. Maybe. DeAndre Hopkins coming in at number 2 for us across the board. His ADP is 110, so he's going third to last pick there in that first round. So he's going, which is crazy because I think he's going, like Brown's going around 105. Then I think it's Kamara, Fournette, Gordon, and Barkley is in there somewhere in the mix in that fashion. And then you got DeAndre Hopkins at 110. So
whatever your preference is.
Right.
I really think, if you can land the first 3 guys that we're talking about as our consensus, I think either one of them in your first round, I think you're fine. If you're wanting a wide receiver, honestly.
If you can get a top 3 running back or receiver in your first round, you're doing good. That's a good start.
Oh, yeah. So
as long as it's the half PPR or PPR format.
Yes.
Right. So, all right. So number 3 consensus for us. I've got him at 4. Blackburn and Trimboli's got him at 3, so not much of a difference. But it's Odell Beckham Jr.
OBJ.
His ADP right now is 111, so he's right after DeAndre Hopkins. And I've seen him. For whatever reason, his ADP has not moved. He's pretty much staying at like 111, 112 in these ADP mock drafts for whatever reason.
He's a ball hog, man. He's a beast.
I'm just surprised he's not like moving up into I'm surprised him and Hopkins are towards the back end of the draft.
Well,
I really thought they were.
Well, he's having a quiet camp.
Right.
There's nothing like.
Which is good for him.
Exactly. That's why I don't think his ADP is going one way or another.
Surprisingly for New York, all the hype's about Barkley right now.
Yep. Which is good for them.
Which is good for OBJ because
he's
kind of fly under the radar.
He's playing for that contract too. So
true. All right, number 4 consensus. It's Michael Thomas. I've got him at 5. Blackburn's got him at 5, and Trimboli's got him at 4. So really not a whole lot of difference. I mean, I think it still comes down to your personal preference as to what you think the offense is going to do while Ingram is gone. So do you think Michael Thomas is going to be the most beneficial fantasy player in that group, or do you think it's going to be Alvin Kamara? That's what it comes down to, in my opinion.
Right.
So 203. So he's going early in the second round. Which if you are somebody who really likes to take a wide receiver, your first and second pick overall, and that's like your hardest set on that, you can get somebody like Hopkins or OBJ and come back around with the turn and take Michael Thomas, and that's not a bad setup to start with.
No, PPR, that'd be great.
So if you miss out on the top lead backs, these guys could be somebody you could
absolutely
put 2 wide receivers. So this is where it's still kind of the same, but not. It's not a drastic jump. But Blackburn's got this guy 2 spots higher than myself and Trimboli, which is not a bad thing. But Keenan Allen coming in at 5, and his ADP is at 205, so a couple picks after Michael Thomas. Like I said, Trimboli and I got him at 6. Blackburn, you got him at 4. So what puts him ahead of Michael Thomas for you? I guess.
In my opinion, I get the Kamara thing and all that, but for me, when Hunter Henry went down. And L.A. I said San Diego.
That's all right.
L.A. To me, that jumped up Melvin Gordon and Keenan Allen a lot. Keenan Allen had a great year last year. I know he came off an injury 2 years ago, but he's going to be targeted early and often. So I look for Keenan Allen to get more plays than Michael Thomas.
Right. I think he's gonna, like I said, I think the opportunities are going to be higher there for him. But the biggest thing for Keenan Allen for me that it stood out to me was when I looked into his red zone opportunity. Now, I know I'm not saying that Mike Williams isn't – I still think Mike Williams is going to dip into the red zones. But even so, when he had Antonio Gates and Hunter Henry playing last year, Keenan Allen was the most targeted wide receiver in the red zone. By a drastic number. Right. It wasn't even within 5 or 6 receptions or targets or anything like that. He was double-digit targets. So, just saying. And now you don't have Hunter Henry. You don't currently have Antonio Gates. And they're going to probably try to use Mike Williams and Melvin Gordon in some fashion in the red zone.
Gordon's stuff will get beefed up in the passing game.
Yeah.
Sure. But Keenan Allen's he'll blow it up.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked at Allen really hard, and the only reason why I have Thomas above him is because Brandon Cooks is no longer in New Orleans either.
Right.
So Thomas's target share is going to go up, and he's actually getting targeted a ton already.
Right.
Well, they still got Ted Ginn, who played the Brandon Cooks role.
My only concern with Michael Thomas, and this is not I don't think it's him, it's Cameron Meredith. How healthy can Cameron Meredith be? Because I think Cameron Meredith can be a solid wide receiver too for that offense, but I also think that Kamara is going to be taking a lot of receptions. We talked about it early in the offseason that Alvin Kamara for a while there, he was the number 1 reception guy on that team.
Right.
And then he was he finished number 2 behind Michael Thomas. I'm just saying these 2 guys are probably going to be your wide receiver 1, running back 1s.
Right.
But I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but I think that Phillip Rivers being the quarterback there and Keenan Allen being the receiver, I think that's a good thing for.
It's just less weapons, that's all.
Oh yeah. So
addition by subtraction.
There you go. Julio Jones coming in at 6. He's got a 202 ADP, so he's actually going higher than Thomas and Allen right now, and I think that's a lot of it's based on name.
Right, I agree.
And potential opportunity. I just think that I've got him at 3. Blackburn's got him at 10. And Trimboli's got him at 5. So
we're actually kind of all over on him.
I think I've got him top 3, just ahead of OBJ, just because I think that the offense in general, there's no real. I think he's going to get. He had a lot of opportunities in the red zone. He just did not catch them. I just think that he's going to still see the opportunity, and I'm hoping that Sarkisian has figured out a way to use a guy like Julio Jones in his offense. I'm just hoping that. I could be completely wrong, but then you got Trimboli's coming in at the 5 mark, so top 5.
I just think him and Thomas, are going to be comparable in receptions and targets, but I think Thomas might have 1 or 2 more touchdowns. That's the only reason why I got him a little higher.
Right. And they brought in Ridley.
True.
You got Sanu, you got Hooper, you got both running backs there.
True.
There's a lot of weapons there.
Yep.
And we know Sarkisian likes the running backs. That's why I dropped Julio down a little bit.
Yeah, I see that. And it has nothing to do with anything other than you're just not a fan of Sarkisian as the OC, correct?
I look for the running backs to get the majority of the look in the red zone.
Yeah. Now, if you ask Jalen Ramsey, He said Matt Ryan is, and I quote, overrated.
So he's agreeing with you.
So he is agreeing with you.
I'm not saying Matty Ice is overrated because he's played in that thing called the Super Bowl.
True.
I mean, they did lose, but how many has Jalen Ramsey played in?
True.
Message.
I'm not even going to.
If it wasn't for Calais Campbell and that defense would be trash anyway.
Right.
I agree.
All right, number 7.
Yes.
Near and dear to the gentleman to my right.
Yes.
Heart, A.J. Green, Cincinnati being a wide receiver. Number 7 for us. He's got an ADP of 209. I've got him at 7. Blackburn's got him at 6. And Trimboli has him as the lowest.
Yeah, he's that near and dear to my heart.
Well,
Well,
you also understand that
the Homer card can get you down sometimes.
Right.
I understand how it goes.
I'm just nervous about the offense. That's all it is. Mixon gives me some hope, but, I mean, we were low all across the board in every category.
Well,
Offense is set.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what screwed you guys last year. Offensive line.
Right.
You lost Whitworth. What was the guard's name that went to Cleveland? Zeitler.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I like Zeitler.
Yeah, Pro Bowl. They're both Pro Bowl guys.
Well, they drafted Zeitler to be the future of the offensive line, and then they let him walk.
Yeah, so
Well, they put him in right away, too, to be it.
So last year, I mean,
Marvin
Andy
Lewis.
Dalton was running for his life. They didn't start Joe Mixon.
No.
The Jeremy Hill project was still in town. Eifert can't stay on the field to keep his life. So basically you got hurt John Ross. You got Croft, who I do like, but A.J. Green's your mainstay. He's your go-to guy. He's gonna continue to carry the load there.
Yeah. I think my biggest thing is they improved the offensive line.
Yes.
They brought in the Dallas Cowboys offensive line coach to help out, and they got Joe Mixon as their starting running back. So that, to me, checks the boxes to help that offense, which was lacking last year.
Well, it helps Dalton, which will help A.J. Green.
Correct, because if Dalton's under duress and he's running for his life, he's not like a Russell Wilson who can still make a throw falling backwards or running out of bounds. I mean, he can, but they usually go to the guys wearing the opposite jerseys. So,
Right.
But the thing is with my biggest that I looked at with A.J. Green, and this goes into Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton has never finished outside the top 20 for a fantasy quarterback. As horrible as he has been over the years.
Well, 2 years ago, they were like the number one offense.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, you can't, if they can get all the pieces to go in place and work the way that they're supposed to, I think A.J. Green has the potential to be a top 5 wide receiver.
But see, Gruden was there that year, and they had Sanu. We had Jones. We had all kinds of weapons on wide receivers.
That's crazy to think. You had
I know.
Mohamed Sanu. You got Marvin Jones sitting there.
And then you come back the next year, draft Mixon.
They let Marvin Jones go. They let Sanu go, and they brought in John Ross and Mixon. And then they let Whitworth. They let Zeitler go, and they just called horrible plays. Anyways, all right, on to the next one.
A.J. Green's A.J. Green, though.
He's a solid top 10 guy.
Yes.
As long as he's got the time.
Yeah, him getting to the next level is all about the offense in general.
True. So, Devontae Adams coming in at number 8. He's going at 206 for ADP purposes. I've got him at 8, and you guys got him at 7. So, it's not really a giant gap between 7 and 8, obviously. But I just think that it's hard for me to put him over some of these other guys just because we know what they've all done when they're healthy. But with having your quarterback being none other than Aaron Rodgers carries a little bit of fantasy relevance weight. I mean, I think that gives you, like in golf, your handicap's a lot less when you got Aaron Rodgers throwing you the ball.
And that's the exact reason why I have him ranked higher than A.J. Green. It's all because of Aaron Rodgers.
Well, that and 2 years ago, if you remember, Jordy Nelson was the second wide receiver.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams was 7.
Right.
Last year, Aaron Rodgers got hurt, or Devontae would have been up even more because he even played well when Hundley was in there.
Right. So I think
now it's Devontae's show.
It is, and I think, like you said, with Nelson not being there, they did bring in Jimmy Graham to kind of, I think,
He'll take away some targets.
The red zone to help. But the thing is, they really don't have the set running back setup that they're looking at. They're unsure of who their wide receiver 2 is really going to be. Is it going to be Randall Cobb? Is it going to be Geronimo Allison? Or is it going to be one of these rookie wide receivers that have kind of been hot and cold in camp? And I mean, and Aaron Rodgers has made it very clear to the media that he ran with the scout team just to kind of see what the up-and-coming talent looks like, and he said they're not good.
Right.
I mean, when Aaron Rodgers tells you you're not good and you're on the practice squad,
he wasn't sugarcoating it.
That's not good, but whatever. So I think Devontae Adams having Aaron Rodgers as quarterback makes him easily a top 5 potential. It's just a matter of I'm not saying that he can't score enough points. It's can the guys that we've got ahead of him score more points.
Right.
So, and then number 9, Stephon Diggs. 304 on ADP. I've got him at 9. Blackburn's got him at 14. Jamoli's got him at 12. So I've got him inside the top 10, and that's only because
You watched the first preseason game.
I watched the preseason game, but I also have heard a lot out of camp that Kirk Cousins has been favoring Diggs on a lot more like routes. He's been looking for him, and he's been pushing the ball down the field more. He's feeling a little bit more comfortable throwing the ball down the field, where in Washington he really wasn't throwing a whole lot of the deep ball. It was more kind of like underneath routes.
He throws a good amount of deep balls, but the thing about it is Kirk Cousins spreads the ball around.
Right.
We've mentioned it for 2 years now that no Redskin receiver has finished inside the top 30.
True.
When
They've had
Cousins was
1,000
there.
receiving yards.
Yeah, they're all good, but Deshaun Jackson, Crowder, they were all in the same area, like 30 through 40.
Right. I think the biggest difference for me is I'm hoping, and what I'm banking on, is that Diggs scores more touchdowns than Crowder and Pryor
Which is
and some
possible.
of these other
Very
guys did
possible.
that were playing under Kirk Cousins. I mean, it was Garcon and Crowder, correct? Or no,
It was Garcon and Deshaun Jackson, both over 1,000 yards.
Right. So if you can, my thing is, if you can get 1,000 yards out of Stephon Diggs and you can throw 5 or 6 touchdowns in there, I think that's what makes him a top 10 wide receiver, in my opinion. But that's
Well,
just
he's
me.
got to have the receptions too. I mean,
Right.
That's the
thing. These guys have a ton of receptions that are above him.
Right.
I'm just thinking the yards and touchdowns are going to carry him in this half-point setup at least.
Right. I mean,
Well, it's going to have to.
Right.
Now you throw Rudolph in the mix. You got Dalvin Cook. I mean, Minnesota's got a lot of weapons too.
True.
And Kirk's going to throw that ball around.
Right.
I mean, he made Ryan Grant look good to where he got signed to a good contract.
True.
True. So, all right, number 10, T.Y. Hilton. I wanted to say thank you, Hilton. T.Y. Hilton.
Not last year.
No, last year, no. T.Y. Hilton coming in at 10. His ADP is 302. I've got him at 13. Blackburn's got him at 9, and Trimboli's also got him at 13. So Blackburn's got him in that top 10, and I'm banking on the fact that your ranking is based on Luck being there for 16 games.
Absolutely.
So
because we know what T.Y. Hilton can do when Andrew Luck's there.
right. I mean, he wasn't horrible last. I mean, he was very hot and very cold with Brissett in there. He had weeks where he blew it up, and then he had weeks where he just was not even worth having as like a flex.
Right.
So,
but yeah, that's the go-to guy for Andrew Luck.
and they can't keep they can't keep a healthy wide receiver too.
Right.
I mean, Kane got hurt, and then
Ryan Grant's their number 2 right now.
well, Philip Dorsett, wasn't he on there too?
No, he plays for the Patriots, I think,
Did he get traded to the Patriots?
like last year.
Oh well.
Anywho,
Anyways.
but yeah,
Well, with a good number 2, it's even going to make Hilton more valuable.
that's what I'm saying. Well, they got Ebron and Jack Doyle, which will help out too, but
Sure.
it's going to be T.Y. Hilton's show all day in Indianapolis.
I mean, I could see myself moving Hilton up to to 10 at the highest, and I would just be banking on that Luck's going to play for 16. I'm still a little weary of the Andrew Luck healthy thing. That's the only reason why I'm banking on like potential he doesn't play all 16 games. So, but Larry Fitzgerald, the Fountain of Youth, comes in at 11, 311 on ADP wise, 12, 12, and 11 across the board. So we're all pretty much in the same boat of where we think he's relevant.
He's just consistent. He's solid.
He's led the league last 2 years in receptions. So.
Right.
So, I mean, and if you're in a half-point PPR, you're getting your points for your receptions as well as your yards and your touchdowns, and he's the only true wide receiver in that offense this year.
His receptions might take a slight dip this year with David Johnson playing a whole season.
Right.
True.
If he plays a whole season. But other than that, I mean, he's solid.
Yep. You just hope his touchdowns go up.
Right.
Because he's averaging actually 6 per the last 2 years.
Right. Well,
You're actually getting better quarterback play in Sam Bradford, if he can stay healthy, than what they've had the last couple years.
right. And then they've got the tight end there. Was it Seals Jones, right?
Yep.
Ricky Seals Jones, who I think is going to be relevant. I think he's going to help in the red zone, which could potentially take away from Larry Fitzgerald's touchdowns in the red zone. But to me, Larry Fitzgerald is just kind of a guy that he finds a way to be relevant every week. Whether it's I'm going to catch 6 or 7 passes for 5 yards and then one big catch for a touchdown, or I'm going to have 2 touchdowns and like 20 yards. I mean, he's going to find a way to get relevant. He is what Des Bryant should try to be, which is a guy who's going to find a way to be successful on the field when your set skills that you came into the league with are no longer there.
He's the go-to guy on third down. I mean, he's the guy.
Right.
See, he's for me, the Melvin Gordon of the wide receivers. There's no sexy play here. There's no big boom here. He's just a steady, solid guy you're going to get every week.
Right.
And you're getting him in towards the end of the third round. Probably, depending on your league, you might be able to get him in the 4th round.
And he's durable. Like, he's hardly injured.
Right. So why? I don't know. I know that some people are like, it's Larry Fitzgerald. It's nothing. And I think the biggest thing, like you just made the point, It's nothing like flashy. It's not like a Tyreek Hill where
Right.
he's going to – I mean, but the problem is Tyreek Hill's going to get you a week where – I forget the exact percentage, but there was a week where he got you top 12% like wide receivers like maybe 2 out of like the 16 games that he played or whatever it was or whatever.
Yeah, he had like 4 games over 15, and then the rest of them were like under 10.
Where Larry Fitzgerald is probably getting you a consistent across the board 10.
Right.
Yeah, let me get the 10 to 12 every game. He's the Frank Gore, is
Right.
what I like to say.
Yeah, it's
There
good.
you go.
There you go. It's good comp.
See? Both fountain of youth. Let's see. Number 12, Doug Baldwin, going in at 306 for ADP purposes. I've got him at 11. Blackburn's got him at 11, and Trimboli's got him at 15. My best guess is that Trimboli's got him at 15, banking on that he's not playing a full season because of the knee injury.
Yep.
Where I'm, at least myself, I'm thinking he'll be back by week 1 and he plays all 16.
I said even if he misses a couple weeks, he's the main guy there.
True.
He is. He's just not a. He's not a huge receptions guy. He's dependent on the touchdown.
Yeah, but he's every time there's a huge big play, it's Doug Baldwin.
Well, when the play breaks down, he's looking for Baldwin.
Right.
Wilson does.
Every
so.
time. So
I think it does come down to the knee situation. Now, if he's not going to be playing all 16, if he plays, my guess is, okay, if he plays 12 games, does that change your opinion on him being a top 11 pick, like wide receiver wise?
what was the question?
If he doesn't play, if he only plays 12 games, so if he doesn't play, if he misses 4 games, so if he misses, we'll just say a quarter of the season, does he still stay in a top 12 position for you?
12 to 15, yes.
Okay. So but does he move more probably closer to the 15 is what you
Yes.
guess? All right.
See, and if he's healthy all year, I think he's right outside the top 12, sneaking into the top 10.
Yeah, that's why I got him at 11. If he,
Right.
I'm just
I'm banking on that he plays 16 and that he'll be fine.
So we're
volume.
kind of agreeing on the same player. I just think he's going to be hurt. You think he's ready to go?
Right. So
volume.
right. And number 13. So these are the guys that are right outside the top 12. So these guys are early wide receiver 2s for us. 13 is Adam Thielen, the other wide receiver there in Minnesota. I've got him at 10. Blackburn's got him at 19, and Trimboli's got him at 9. So
He's just lost that love and Thielen over there.
Look, I love Adam. We all know I like Adam Thielen, right?
right, you were high on him last year, early on in the offseason.
But now, Kirk Cousins coming to town. I agree with you that I watched it. I know it's only one preseason game, but everything I've looked at camp says him and Diggs are the one going at it. He's going to favor Kyle Rudolph a lot. He loves the tight end. I just think Thielen's going to be the odd man out in this situation. He's not going to get the targets and volume that Case Keenum gave him last year.
I think that was the biggest thing. I mean, because when Bradford was there, the volume really was kind of even. I looked at that, and then
I still favored Diggs a little bit.
Slightly, but not by much. But then once Case Keenum came in, it was like Thielen just went through the roof, and Diggs was like, I'm here.
80% of all third downs last year went to Adam Thielen.
You know what? We haven't done this in a while.
Boom.
No.
Knowledge.
With
I'm
these
just saying,
third down
he's
stats.
not going to get that this year.
No, and Dalvin Cook will be back, and Latavius Murray is healthy this year starting the season. So they've got 2 solid running backs in some fashion.
I'm not saying Adam Thielen won't be a wide receiver too, but he's not going to be nowhere near what people think or where his ADP is.
I think his ceiling is a lot lower this year than I think
I
last
could agree
year
with
was.
that, yep.
I think last year his ceiling was very high, an opportunity, especially when Case Keenum went down or came in with the to be the quarterback, and Sam Bradford went down with the injury. But I think, like you said, with Kirk Cousins being the quarterback and them having so many options and him specifically favoring the tight end position as well as the offensive coordinator there being one that likes to favor the tight end position as well, I just think that Diggs is going to be the beneficiary out of the wide receivers. But I don't think it's going to be a horrible year for Adam Thielen either.
I will say Thielen's going to have a lot of receptions. He's going to be a chain mover, but the big play touchdowns, that's going to be all Diggs.
Right. And I've got Diggs at 9 and I've got Thielen at 10, and the reason why is I'm still thinking that Kirk Cousins is going to use them both in some fashion, obviously, but I think that they're going to be the best wide receiver core he's had, and I think that's going to help him put some more touchdowns on the board. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I would not even be surprised if Minnesota, like 3/4 of the way through the game each week, is not like just the game's over by the end of the third quarter. Going into the fourth quarter if the game's not already over. And
Yeah, because their defense is legit.
Defense is going to hold.
And if they can put up points, that was a problem last year in the playoffs. They couldn't put up the points to overcome the Philly. And
defense wore it out eventually.
Right.
So if your defense is staying stout and doing what they're supposed to, and you got Kirk Cousins putting a touchdown, even if it's every other drive, a touchdown every other drive and you go through 10 to 15 drives and a half or whatever it is. I mean, I'm just saying they should put points on the board every drive. Minnesota's offense, with how much they've got across the board.
Right.
Yep.
And defensive scoring.
Right. And the defense is probably going to put points on the board as well. So
I think you summed it up perfectly. Thielen's the volume guy. Diggs is your big play.
right.
Touchdown upside.
Right. Now, number 14, Mike Evans coming in. 301 on
No
the ADP.
love.
Yeah, no. Disrespecting him.
I've got him at 19. Triboli's got him at 14. Blackburn does have him in his top 10, so he's at least he's still loving the Mike Evans
I'm not
volume.
loving. He screwed me last year.
Well, you apparently can't quit him, so you got him at 8.
Here's the thing. I understand Winston's not playing first 4 games.
Fitzmagic though, he loves throwing the ball.
Wait, comma.
However, their running backs there, garbage. They announced Peyton Barber as their starter. Give me a break. Ronald Jones needs to step it up. I think they're going to target the crap out of Mike Evans.
Right.
He's going to be force-fed like DeAndre Hopkins was.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you in that context. I'm just concerned that the offense as a whole and the defense as a whole is going to suck. They're just not. Honestly,
I'll put it bluntly.
No, he might be right, but still, it's going to be Mike Evans volume.
Right. I just worry about the fact that they're going to probably be playing from behind a ton. The fact that double coverage is going to be on Mike Evans, and I'm banking on that he's not successful, but he could be, and he could be a top 10 wide receiver. I agree with you. Volume is going to be there through the roof for Mike Evans.
Are you comfortable still taking him as your wide receiver 1?
No.
So that's what scares me. That's why I think he's right outside. I think he's at number 2 with a wide receiver 1 upside.
Yes,
I would agree with you. I got him as a wide receiver, obviously 2, but I think he has potential to be a wide receiver 1. It's just
2 short years ago he led the league.
I worry about the offense and the defense being just horrible on both ends, and just them imploding by like week 3.
He was the number 1 fantasy wide receiver.
Yeah,
I just can't write that off.
I mean, the guy's got talent. I'm not saying that he's not a talented
wide
wide receiver.
drafting him.
I can't
quit trading him to me though.
I don't know. I just feel bad because he's a talented wide receiver.
Very.
And he's playing on a horrible offense that just Dirk Cutter.
Listen, he inherited Jameis Winston. That's enough said.
Yeah. Well, Dirk Cutter is playing Yahtzee while everyone's playing checkers and in chess. I'm just saying. He's not even on the right board. At least checkers and chess.
These board games.
I'm just saying checkers and chess. At least it's somewhat the same board. He's playing Yahtzee, rolling dice in there.
They're playing Guess Who, kid.
Guess who?
Does your receiver catch a ball? No. Click, click, click.
Who's? That is a better analogy. I like that.
That is awesome.
Will Jameis Winston play? Who's going to be your quarterback week 1? Click, 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 click.
They don't even do that. They just go.
Does your quarterback have a beard? Click, 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 click.
I like it. Oh man! All right. So then finally to wrap up the wide receiver talk for this week, number 15, Amari Cooper. I have really fallen off.
Oh man, you did.
I'm not. I've got him basically at the back end of the wide receiver 2s, and that's just because I'm not sure the offense. But I will tell you, after seeing some of the offense and hearing a lot out of the camp and Gruden talking highly of Derek Carr, I just think that I'll probably end up moving him to maybe around 14, 15.
To 20.
Right, to 20. But he's going at 312, so he's going to literally the last pick of the 3rd round. I got him at 21. Blackburn's got him at 15. And Trimboli's got him as his number 10 wide receiver. So I can tell you why I have him at 21, and that's only because I'm concerned that the offense was going to be horrible. However, I know it was one play, and we don't bank everything on the preseason and everything. But I will tell you, Marshawn Lynch, they must have like lit a cannon and just was like shot him out because dude was running, and I'm impressed that he was running so fast. And I was like, that dude's like over 30 and he's running like 4 threes out here.
That play never happened. There was a flag.
Anyways,
such negativity.
Anyways,
let beast mode.
He did. He looked great on that.
I'm just saying, my biggest thing with Amari Cooper was the drops. If he can figure out a way to correct the drops, I can put him as a top 15 wide receiver. However, as you would say, if he is continuing his issues of dropping the ball, you got Jordy Nelson, who will gladly step in and take the red zone opportunities, and then you've got Martavis Bryant, who will have no problem being your underneath and running, just getting open underneath. And Jared Cook's there. I'm just saying, they've got beast mode, they've got Derek Carr. They'll figure out a way to basically say, sorry.
Muscle hamster.
Right.
Amari Cooper will be removed from that offensive play style. Gruden will have no problem just writing him off if he is dropping the ball.
Well, so I think Gruden's going to get the running game better than it was last year, which is going to open up the passing lanes where I think Cooper is going to get his value.
Marshawn Lynch is a sneaky play this year.
Yeah.
And his ADP is like
he's
ninth round.
I'd say 9th or 10th round in standard, and I think he's like 10th or 11th.
Quit talking about him. Let's keep him low.
I'm just saying he is starting. He impressed me with camp and.
Thacker, you should take Lynch.
But one of our guests we had early on, Chris Warren, actually had a really good game this preseason.
Yeah,
now I know it's not big news, but I mean for him that was really good, and I think it's continuing to trend upward for him to make that 53-man roster for a guy who was a long shot, undrafted. But I mean he looked really good in the preseason. I think he was like 13 carries for 86 yards, and had who was the quarterback? Oh, who was the quarterback that was in at that point? I forget what his name is. He was a Michigan State quarterback, so that was already an issue for him. I forget. Anyways, he fumbled the under center snap, and they were like inside the 5, and you knew it was going to Chris Warren for a touchdown, and he fumbles it, and you're just like, thanks, guy. Anyways, so all I know is that he's looking good, and he had praise from Gruden at the podium at the end of the day, as well as Beast Mode came over to him on the sideline and was like, hey, that's how you run a football type thing. So cool story for him. Now, unfortunately, on the other end, Robert Davis, who we had last year in the offseason, ended up having an ACL. No, he broke his leg. It was reported initially ACL.
Yeah.
But broke his leg, and he has an MCL issue. So he's done for the year, unfortunately. And that guy he was like right there on the cusp of being like.
He was getting ready to break in.
So he was vying for that wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 spot. But
Connor Cook.
That guy's garbage. Not only
he's full of it all.
He is horrible, apparently. Your one job, besides throwing the ball and reading the defense, catch the ball when it's snapped. And it wasn't like a shotgun. It's under center. So you're already right there, like right by the ball, and you fumble it. How do you do that is beyond me, but whatever.
Sanchez does the butt fumble, so anything can happen.
True story.
Anyways, so that's all we got for today. Next week, we will be discussing the tight ends of the fantasy football world, which it's going to this one I think is going to be a varying, because I think that outside like the top 2 or 3 tight ends.
Outside of one.
It's really going to going to be different options.
Outside of one is where it's going to start varying. I guarantee it.
So, anyways, just want to tell you guys thanks again to listening to today's show, as well as watching us on YouTube. Please check out the site, hateful8ff.com, where you can check out our articles. And also the apparel store is open, ready for business. Follow our personal accounts. Yep, see shirts. We
each got a different shirt on. It's nice.
So we've got tons of shirts. I mean, there's different opportunities if you want if you're a fantasy football champion, we've got your league champ shirt. If you want a polo for the golf, that's still going on.
We need to get that loser's hot garbage shirt going.
I am working on that. Don't worry. That'll be out by next week. I'll have something mocked up. So
I'm gonna get that Thielen one.
Right. I got that Levin Thielen.
Can we get a picture of you in that dress? Right. Hot garbage shirt.
Hey, I'm down.
Oh, man. Follow our personal accounts at jpickle_th8ff, at jblackburn_th8ff, and at ftrimth8ff. Don't forget to join the Average Donation and support the show via our Patreon tab on the site, where you can also get your draft help while the draft season is still going on, as well as once we roll into the in-season, getting your in-season weekly help. So
it's winding down. We're almost here.
Almost there. So just tell you guys thanks again. You got anything else?
Nope. Thanks, guys.
We appreciate it.
Yep. We'll see you guys next week.
One more time. There ain't no one like these 3. You know you just heard Pickle, Blackburn, and Trimboli. Get the goods talking about nothing but fantasy football. Yeah, it's your year to dominate and to wear that ring. Prepare for the draft and dial in on your craft. Quarterback, the first round is a good choice, you ask? This guy's got first round pick, a favorite? Not so fast. He failed to tune into Hateful 8. He's a chump finishing last.